All right, let's go to Patrick in Salem, Virginia. What's up, Patrick?
Hey, John. Thank you for having me on.
You got it, man. Thanks for hanging out. You got to see how the sausage is made. If you call into the show and we put you on hold for a while, or I think we called you and put you on hold for a while, you get to hear what a disaster I am behind the scenes, right?
Oh, it's all good. Thank goodness for editing, right?
Oh, you have no idea, man. You have no idea. So what's up?
So my question is, how do I have a healthy relationship with work? And there's a kind of a long backstory to that we can kind of dig through a little bit. But long story short, I tend to get into this cycle where I'm super excited about a job. I love the new career opportunity. And then like 6 months into it, I'm like, this is awful. I don't like this anymore. And then I get burned out, frustrated, and then I tap out and leave. I'm really tired of that cycle and I want to break out of it, but I don't really know how.
Oh, man. How old are you?
I'm 26.
Okay. This is one of those rare moments in my life when I get to talk to 26-year-old me. Okay? And I have... Oh, my gosh, man. I can get pretty emotional about this. I'm going to give you like a conversation direct from my heart. Is that cool?
Yep, that works for me.
Because I'm talking to myself at 26. 26 is when I got my first big fancy job at a university. And I think it was 3 or 4 months in that I started applying for another job. And then for another one. And then for another one. And then I got so obsessed with applying for other jobs. And then I finally got one. And then I got there, and within 5 to 6 months, I was already applying for something else. And then I was looking for something else. And I was looking for something else, right? And then I ended up imploding. In counseling, we call it the tyranny of accomplishing all of your dreams. And the problem is you were looking for somewhere, something to make you feel like you are worth being alive. And that thing doesn't exist. Whether that's a new romantic partner, whether that's a new car, whether that's a new job. And you show up with the best of intentions because this is going to be the one, and you get after it, and you realize right when you get there that you went with you. Right?
Yeah. Yep.
And you get bored and you get annoyed. And so tell me if I'm wrong here. And man, feel free to tell me I'm wrong. Here was my special gift. You ready? I would get bored. Not bored. That's not right. I would get disillusioned. I thought it would feel different making X amount of dollars. I thought it would feel different having such and such title. I thought it would feel different having these type of meetings or being included at this level instead of that level, right?
Yep.
And so what I would do is I would begin to slowly make the people around me my enemy. And I would get annoyed by their jokes that weren't very funny. Or I would find one little place where I thought I wouldn't handle it like that. I would do it like this. Or if there was, I wouldn't say a moral black and white failure. There's obviously those, but they're gray. And I would make the gray super black and white so that I could begin to create space, giving me permission to lead with my head held high because I am this martyr here, making this big right decision. And I'm out of here and I'm going to the next thing.
Yep. You must have had somebody following me for the last 6 years because that's pretty much exactly it.
No, I'm just recounting my life. I'm recounting my life. So there's a couple of things at play here, but ultimately it starts with an identity shift. Okay, here's a couple of the major identity shifts I'm going to make. One of them came from a mentor of mine. I consider him one of the smartest, most brilliant, wise minds I've ever had the opportunity to be in contact with. And he was I'd consider him a spiritual mentor. He's someone I have gone to in the past for quandaries about ethical and moral decisions in my life. He posed this question one time, and it was kind of like a dagger to me. He said, what if you lived your life like you would never move? Like you couldn't ever move? What conversations would you have then? What What would you do to improve the relationships in your life? What would you do to change the way you presented yourself at work and in your marriage and in your neighborhood? Because if we are or at your church, right? Because if it's always like, I don't like it, I'm out of here, then we are never going to be settled. And so when I took this job, my current one, I made a choice. I'm going to be here. And so I can honestly say for the first time in my life, I have not applied for another job since I've been here.
Okay.
Right? It's a choice I made. It's an identity. I'm going to be here. Now, there may come a day when I got to go, or I get more likely I get asked to leave. But I am going to put both of my feet here. And what that's meant is I've had to seek validation, seek well-being, seek wellness elsewhere. That means that I've had to make peace with me, and that has sucked. And that has meant I've had to have some very difficult and challenging conversations with my wife. I've had to become a different dad. I've had to go to counseling. I've had a coach that I've met with regularly just to walk through different decisions and thought processes. I've had to really become laser disciplined with my exercise and diet. I've had to do a lot of internal work and make some major changes in my life. I've had to really get serious about my spiritual life. I've had to just make some internal changes because I'm not relying on some external job to try to make me whole, because it can't do that. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense.
So what job are you doing right now?
So currently I'm a package handler for FedEx.
Okay.
And tomorrow I start orientation for a checker position at Coca-Cola.
Oh, so you've already quit that job and you're on to the next?
It's a part-time job, so It's not paying me enough to pay the mortgage. So I gotta do something else.
Are you married?
So yeah, I am married. Yes.
You have little ones?
No kids yet.
Has your wife started getting that exhale when you come home with a new scheme or a new plan or a new reason why you got to leave this job?
We haven't hit that point yet with this job.
No. I'm talking about she's been with you for 6 years. Oh,
yeah. No, that was kind of a big conversation we were having about a year and a half ago.
Let me tell you why that's devastating to her. This is devastating to her. And I don't want to guilt you or shame you, but I just want to paint you a bigger picture, because right now, all you're doing is staring at your belly button. And I know, because I was there. She's also wondering, what about me? Mm-hmm. When does he wake up and get bored with me? When does he wake up and decide he needs another one of me too? And if you're being honest, you've had that thought as well. And she can feel it on you. Fair?
I mean, I haven't quite had that thought, but I can see how it could lead there, yes.
That was the most, sheesh. Okay, I'll give you that one, but I didn't realize how unsettled, how every time my wife started to put roots in the ground, I would sever them. And for me, looking for another job, looking for another place, looking for another opportunity was sport. For her, it was just ripping the plant out of the pot again. Mm-hmm. I didn't realize how hard her heart was pumping every day just to try to have some semblance of normalcy, because she didn't know where her flighty, flaky husband was going to drag her off to next. Either emotionally or spiritually, or actually like, let's move this from this city and go somewhere else. And so that same thing I'm putting out on your wife that I did to my wife, it's happening to you too. And so the first thing what you do is to resettle your identity. I'm going to be a guy who sticks around. I'm going to be a guy that uses all that energy to, I'm out of here, I'm looking for a new job. I'm going to use that energy to be the best freaking employee in this whole company. I'm going to work to satisfy this mission, and try that for 6 months. Go all in. This company went all in on you. Go all in back. Give them that much dignity and respect for 6 months, and see if it doesn't change your entire well-being. And if you've created a life for yourself that you can't afford, whether it's a mortgage, whether it's car payments, whether it's whatever it is, your body is going to respond anxiously all of the time, and you're going to be trying to solve that anxiety everywhere. Have you done that?
Yeah, I get into that. I get into those thought processes, and it's like, oh, I could start this business, or I'm like constantly looking for stuff on the side of the road that I can pick up and sell for $20. And
But is that because you've created a life for yourself that you can't afford?
We can afford our lifestyle. The mortgage is really the only debt that we have. I'm still paying off a little bit of school from when I got my CDL license. But as far as like we're going to lose everything in the next 30 days if I don't get a paycheck, it's not quite to that point.
Okay, that means your body is running hot right now, trying to keep you guys safe. So I want you to hang on the line. I'm going to send you for free 1 year of Ramsey Plus. That's my parent company. That's where I work here. And I'm going to give you all the lessons to pay off all those debts, but more importantly, to give you and your wife an avenue for conversation about who you're going to be as a couple, how you're going to spend money, how you're going to budget, how you're going to work together. And that when you go through a process, just how are we going to spend our money? How are we going to join bank accounts? If you haven't done that already, that happens today. How do we become one in this deal? Then you have to start planning about what tomorrow looks like. And when you start planning about what tomorrow looks like, you have to decide things like what job are you going to do and where are you going to work and who do you want to be and what do you want to do? Does that make sense?
Yep. That makes perfect sense.
You guys got to have those conversations. Your wife deserves some stability, man, and you do too.
Yeah.
And what's your long-term play, man? What do you want to do? What's your purpose? Who do you want to serve?
Well, ultimately, I want to serve my Creator and my Savior. That's my number one goal. But
what does that look like as a job?
I have not a clue. I worked in the golf industry as a golf professional. I've worked as a mason. I've worked as an electrician. I was a truck driver. I've been all over the map, and I barely know which way's up in regards to a career.
Okay.
And like, I'm just trying to pay the bills right now.
That's right. That's right. What's underneath that?
A lot of fear.
A fear of what?
Not being good enough.
Who told you that?
I don't know who told me.
You do. Who was it? Say it out loud.
It's kind of crazy to say, but my kindergarten teacher was kind of the first person that ever even planted that thought in my head, and I've just been repeating it over and over for the last 21 years.
How did mom and dad contribute to that?
Whenever I did my best, my dad always told me to go do it again. And I never really felt celebrated for the little wins of getting better at something.
Okay. As a kid, you should have got that. And I'm not saying your dad's a bad guy. I'm saying your dad didn't have that.
No, he's not.
He didn't have that tool in his toolkit. And my guess is he was trying to push you because he wanted you to become a great man. And often men pushing other men to become great men forget that you can only become great when the bottom rungs of the hierarchy of needs are met, which are safety and relationships, right? Then when you are anchored in, there's a reason they send you to boot camp in the Army, in the military, so that you can learn to follow rules and you learn to work as a team, because only then can you go do great things, right?
Yeah.
So those things happened, and here you are. Now, what you're going to have to decide to do is to get a group of guys. Are you lonely as all get out too?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. So you have to make a conscious choice. I'm going to stop being lonely. I'm going to get with a group of guys, whether I'm just going to invite a group of randos out from work, from my church, from the neighborhood. I don't care. I'm going to have a barbecue at my house and everyone's just going to be invited over. I don't care how this looks. You're going to have to get radical about that. The same as people get about losing weight, the same as they get about exercise programs, as quitting drinking. You're going to have to decide to quit being lonely with a radical move. Okay?
Okay.
And I want you and your wife to sit down and say, and I want you to tell her, I understand that I have given you a life that lacks stability. And my promise is I'm going to start working to heal from the inside out, not from the outside in. And you are probably going to see her exhale in a way you haven't seen in a long time. Because here's what I guarantee she's done. She's created a cocoon of a world for her to exist in where it's safe, because you're not. And your body senses that you are not connected, and it is trying to solve that because it is anxious. Right?
Yep. That's spot on.
Okay. So we're going to take a knee. This is submission. And all you, by the way, pause real quick here, Patrick. All you idiots out there who are like, what, you're a simp or whatever that's supposed to be. Shut up. Shut up. Some of the most bold, masculine things you can do is to take a knee in front of your wife and say, I've screwed this up. Or I've been trying to solve this problem this way and it's not working and I've left you completely isolated and alone and I'm sorry. I'm committed to learning new skills. And skill number 1 is I'm going to learn to be at peace with myself. Skill number 2 is I'm going to learn to live in stability. I've never had it before. Is that cool, Patrick?
Yep, that sounds good.
Okay. Also, I want you to stay on the line. My friend Ken Coleman, who is a career guru, has a career assessment. I'm going to send it to you for free. I'm going to send you a code online. I want you to take it. Okay.
Oh, I actually did take that.
You took it?
He threw it on sale.
Okay.
And
did it help?
Yeah, it did help. It helped clarify some of the underlying frustrations that I've found with particular jobs.
Very cool. Well, then I'll do this. I'm going to send you a copy of Paycheck to Purpose, his book, and I want you to read through that, and also send you his other book too. I'm going to send you everything. Proximity Principle, and that will walk you through, here's where we go next. But that is for you to read and ponder and read with your wife and get some feedback, get some friends who will speak into your life. Before I took this job, I flew to Texas and met with some of my oldest friends in the world because I get emotional. I get anxious. I get wound up. And a good leader, which is I'm trying to lead a business, I'm trying to lead my units, I'm trying to lead my family, or co-lead my family with my wife. Like a good leader takes feedback and wisdom, especially in the fog of war. I flew to Texas, met with some friends, and I asked them, hey, I've been working for 20 years to get to this one place in my career, and I finally got there, and I'm thinking about quitting it to go be a YouTuber. And I took their wisdom, and they all laughed and smiled and opened a drink, and we talked and cracked up, and then they said, hey, this sounds crazy, and this sounds right. And that's what I needed. I needed some perspective and some sobriety. Not literal sobriety, but sobriety. So I want you to get some friends and have those conversations about work and purpose and value. But you're not going to find it, man. Someone's going to bring you in and pay you $1 million and call you CEO. And you're still going to look in the mirror and see that kindergarten kid whose teacher said, you'll never amount to crap. Or you'll still see that 7th grader who gets so excited that you got an 88 on that math test that you busted your butt for, and your dad says, wow, would it have killed you to get 2 more points so you could get an A? Or are you always just going to be a B student? Until you let that kid be free, the kid's going to be trying to solve the problems, man. And money and titles won't fix that. Start with your home. Start with your wife. Start with your relationship. Start with y'all's identity. Start with you deciding you want to be well. And man, you got a whole runway ahead of you into a radical new life. It's going to be incredible.